Hi, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I'm Sybil. No, this way. He's Cam. Uh,
It's always get it reversed too. Okay, you're this way. Okay.
okay, right, right.
Hey,
And
Sybil.
we are Damonless today. So welcome, Cam. It's a Cam and Sybil show.
All right, yeah, it's Sybil and Cam show. Nice to be here as always.
It's always great to have you here. In the event that we have an opening here, I'm not sure what Damon is telling us, but in the event that we have an opening, do you have someone else you might like to have join us on a regular basis?
I should. I'm going to just like scan my network, and I hear Andrew Cuomo is looking for a job, um, and maybe he can join our team.
um, you're right in his age range. I don't. I don't know what that means, but you're right in there. If you don't mind being sexually harassed by a 60-year-old white man.
Definitely not my type.
Okay,
Definitely not my type.
not okay, okay. Well, sorry, I tried, Andrew, and I'm not sure if he needs the money or not, but I did hear that. Of course, he has lost his job as governor. I heard that he had to give back the money for the COVID book that he wrote.
Whoa! Oh, he has
Yeah,
tons of money, huh? Mm.
yeah. So I'm not sure what we could do for him. Maybe buy him a couple of slices of pizza, New York pizza. But other than that, I don't know what we have
Yeah.
to offer him.
Sorry.
Um, but what are we gonna do? How are you, Cam?
I'm feeling pretty good. Today I'm just making my way through the work week. I went to the park by my church where they have this hill, and I decided to run up the hill a couple times.
Ooh,
Very tiring, very
ooh,
tiring, but
that's
I feel good.
and so is it like do you probably this is before your time, but you may have seen video of it. Do you remember when Walter Payton was they showed videos of him running up these hills and mountains when he was in training for the Chicago Bears?
Yeah.
Is it that kind of thing
Uh,
that you're
it's
doing?
it is a lot smaller,
Okay.
but it felt like Mount Everest. Let me tell you. Uh, but when I had my car, I used to on the weekends go down to this nature trail called Swallow Cliff,
Mhm.
where yeah, so they have this massive staircase, and I used
Oh.
to walk up, do some laps around that staircase with the goal of eventually wanting to like run up and down them. But
Mhm.
yeah, so that was my little uh, that was my little cardio for today. Now I am happily seated, happily
And
seated.
and so, is the weather affecting you in terms of your workout? Not just keeping you inside, but is it a cold day? Is it a hot day? What's the weather like that, makes you
I,
go outside?
I only won't go out if it's like less than 20 degrees.
Okay.
If it's around 30, I'll bundle up. But this week it's supposed to be 40s to like 60s. So I definitely want to
Right.
go out and get the fresh air.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. And definitely get some vitamin D and all that kind of stuff,
Right. Yeah.
which we highly recommend. So that's my attempt to check in and check up on you, Cam.
Well, thank you.
How'd
Yeah.
I do?
I think you did pretty well. Tell me what's going on in Texas.
It was a warm, humid day today in the Fort Worth area. Yolanda and I were out walking. We are checking in and checking up
Oh,
on each
okay.
other and doing our walk. Trying to do that every day. So, and it was by the time I got home, my hair was like this. And I think you know what that means, ladies. Those of you that can't see us right now, it was kind of out to there. It looked like I was from Dallas with the
It
big hair
was
and
defying
everything. So,
gravity.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and all the money that you pay for your hair just gone like that.
Evaporates in the humidity.
Ex- exactly right.
Sybil, I put your Christmas card in the mail today.
Oh, nice. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no
Thank
problem.
you.
So you should be
I've
getting
st-
a
I've
nice
started.
little letter.
Or not a bonus, just a letter.
Uh,
Okay.
um, let me check with my producer
Your
on.
accountant. um, Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the thought. I've started to get a few Christmas cards. I think I had like three that I opened today, so I look forward to yours. And of course, you're an incredible writer, so I do hope that you did include a note because you
I
you
did.
do have a way with words. So I appreciate that. And I'll just tell you, I haven't put yours in the mail yet, so just
You know,
just so you know. Let me ask you this. Let's talk about some topical things. Let's talk about things that are going on in our world.
tell us what's going on.
This is now looking at the whole Kentucky thing. The president is scheduled to go to Kentucky, visit the Army base there, as well as two stops, including the site of the worst of the tornado damage state. I think it's Mayville. Is it Mayville, the name of the city, where the candle factory and all of that
Right.
took place? And they have not reached a level of 100 deaths yet, but there are still a number of people, like scores of people, who are unaccounted for. Let me tell you this story, though.
Mm.
This is an inmate, a prison inmate, working at this Kentucky candle factory on Friday when the tornado ripped the building apart. Um, he was damaged. He was injured, I should say. He's in the building suffered damage. He was injured. 44-year-old Francisco Starks, working at the Mayfield Consumer Products Candle Factory, was part of the work release program. And I read something that they did have prisoners who work as a part of the release program
Yeah.
at this factory. So he was one of them. He survived the destruction and he was
Mm.
treated at a nearby hospital. He was released from the hospital. He walked out, and they said that he went right back to the prison. He turned himself in.
Wow.
He turned himself in. He said his attorney said he never had any intention of fleeing. He said that the tornado ripped through the factory. His work supervisor was killed,
Ooh.
according to the story. He suffered injuries to his neck, back, and leg. When he
Oh.
went to the hospital, they stitched him up apparently, and when they released him, he didn't know where to go. And so there was no jailer at the hospital. His supervisor at work was dead, and the phone lines were down, of course, because they're without power, they're without cell service and what have you. And the courthouse and the jail had been affected by the storm. He had no idea what to do, his attorney said. And due to his injuries, he reached out to the attorney. He picked him up and he said, "Where do we go?" He said, "I take me back to jail."
Couldn't be
And they
me.
went. So that was my question. If you're in the midst of an emergency like this, you probably a very respected member of the prison society. If you have this job away from prison and you're working your way or working your steps or whatever it is, as you are perhaps nearing your exit from jail, you say you would
No.
go in the opposite direction?
No. Yeah, I would have found some Nikes, slipped those on, and I would have made a break for it. I would have made, uh, I, considering how in total shambles the state of Kentucky is in
Mhm.
right now, no one would have came looking. It was
Yeah.
a literally a get out of jail free card.
So maybe that's his get out of jail free card by turning himself in, and they say, "You know what? With all due respect, we're gonna release you because you did something that is not the norm, or what."
Hell no.
Or even the superintendent would have said, the warden said, "It was up to me. Yeah, Cam and I would have been out of here."
Yeah. I think that like it'll probably, I don't know if Kentucky has a parole system, but it'll probably look good to their like supervision board or their
Mhm.
parole board that
Mhm.
he came back, and I don't know what his, did they say what his sentence was, or
No,
what he was
I
serving?
I did not see that. Just the fact that everybody's just so stunned with the fact that he went back to continue his sentence. And
Yeah,
and I
no.
but I'm gonna follow him, not follow him on social media, but I'm gonna follow the story and do a little bit more investigating. I was just stunned by this. And I'm wondering what other people think about that. Would they have turned themselves in or not?
Yeah.
Today is an anniversary, Cam.
Oh,
Today is the 1 year anniversary of the first people being inoculated with the COVID-19
really?
vaccine.
That's
Yes,
today. Oh,
1 year. 1 year.
wow.
The first dose, and do you remember who the first dose was given to?
I feel like it was given to um, a senior citizen, right?
No.
No. Okay.
No,
Sorry.
no. Actually, it was given to and I don't think she would want to be called a senior citizen. She's a fully active and working nurse, an
Oh, he's
African
in for a
American,
nurse. Okay.
yeah, a black woman by the name of Sandra Lindsay in Long Island, New York.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's a year from today. You know,
Yeah.
Sybil, when I was writing this article about how far Black people have come in the year 2021, I did
Hmm.
not know that the developer, the lead scientist on the Moderna vaccine, was a Black woman.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I've been trying for the past year, Cam, to get her on this show. I am such a fan of hers. And
she's
this
like
young
really young. She's like
Yeah.
35 too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Kizzy Kismekia Corbett, is that the name?
Yes.
Yeah. I like I said, and that's why I got the Moderna.
Same. Yeah.
I went and found it. They say, well, you take what you get. And I said, no, I want to go someplace where I know that I'm gonna get the Moderna because I thought,
Yes.
this is I not real crazy about her nickname. Dr. Fauci, when I did an interview with him and Tom Joyner this year, he calls her Kizzy. I'm not, but I want her to. I want I'm not big on nicknames. Like
Yeah.
I hate to be called Sib.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
yeah. So but you wouldn't believe how many people call me that anyways, but be that as it may.
Mhm.
But Kizzy was not, and I don't want to take anything away from the greatness of Roots, but that just wasn't my favorite name. And so, but she is Kismekia Corbett, and I look forward to that story and talking about Black folks and in the year 2021 and the things that they have accomplished. And so look for that in the What You Need to Know newsletter over the next couple of weeks, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, wow. It's been a 1 year since I guess the completion of Operation Warp Speed,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And that was after the loss in the election
Hmm.
that had warp speed all the way to this date 1 year ago, and it's done. And you're out of office, or of course. The fellow that implemented this,
And I
but
can
the
just
good
sit
that
back
has
and watch
come
from the
as a
sidelines.
so here's the other thing, Cam. With the anniversary of this day and the first COVID-19 vaccine given to a Black woman in Long Island, New York, as we said, 800,000 people have lost their lives, have died
Yeah.
as a result of COVID-19. And I think about, it's not even, it's like 150,000. I don't have the exact number, but it's over 100,000. I want to say it's close to 150,000 people's lives could have been saved if they had
Mm,
taken the vaccine. That's
wow.
the estimation.
Mm, man, I just need everybody out there, who is heeding the science right now with this Omicron variant. If
Mhm,
you're fully vaccinated, what they're saying is that these vaccines are an estimate 30% less effective to the
mhm.
Omicron variant. So please go get the booster shot. Sybil, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little apprehensive about it because the first two shots took
You
me out
had a
for a
bad
week,
reaction. Yeah.
very bad.
What were
So
some of your symptoms?
uh, yeah, I felt like I was sleeping on a bed of needles.
Mm.
I had the shivers.
So
Um,
you had the virus probably. I mean, they
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about, what the inoculations, the vaccines are like. Does the flu vaccine give you the flu, but people have those reactions to it.
yeah. So I'm really trying to like plan a nice week where I don't have a lot
Mhm,
going on, so I can just show
mhm.
myself in my room, take this booster shot, and just languish in my bed for a week.
Yeah. Yeah. I would hate to see you do it over the Christmas holiday, but when are you able to what's the date for you? Do you know?
I'm trying to schedule it during some times where I can safely flake out of some social obligations. Uh, that's going to be my plan.
Smart. That's very smart. I just heard a story about adulting and how people, use the virus to get out of doing certain things these days. So
I've
you said
used the excuse once. Only because so many people have because many people have like died, and there are people who are like seriously on ventilators. I, in good conscience, can't milk the excuse too many times, but there is one time where I was like, I just came back from a public gathering, and I need to stay home for 2 weeks. I did it one time.
and it worked apparently.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. What's not working is Donald Trump, and he is trying to get out of submitting his taxes to the United States Congress, and a federal judge just in a matter of hours threw out a lawsuit filed by the former president trying to block the release of his taxes to Congress. The judges Trevor McFadden deferred to the need for Congress to carry out facially valid inquiries. A long line of Supreme Court cases requires great deference to the valid congressional inquiry, said the judge, and even the special solicitude accorded former presidents does not alter the outcome. The court will therefore dismiss this case, sending it. Now he has 14 days in which to appeal this decision. But this federal judge said, no, you got to show your taxes. You got to present those to Congress, and he's going to fight it, obviously, and he's
Yeah,
going to fight it
obviously.
all the way. But
Yeah.
the juice is loose, Cam.
Again?
Speaking of prisoners, OJ Simpson is completely free. His
Oh,
parole ended early, and OJ Simpson, who was living in Nevada after he was released from prison, is now free
right.
to, as they say on the commercials, free to move about the country. A spokesperson for the Nevada State Police confirmed that O.J. Simpson has, in fact, been discharged from parole this month. According to the spokesperson, he had been on parole since October 1st, 2017, was
Hmm,
awarded good behavior credits, which
okay.
made him eligible for ending his parole early. He was initially set to expire in February of next year.
Well, all right, OJ. Now, let's just
don't don't go cut up anything or anything,
like,
OJ. Sorry.
just keep him away from all gloves. Just keep him.
Right, right. And Bruno Molly shoes. He's now 74 years old. I'm not
Ooh,
sure
mm,
what he is capable of doing now 30 years on, after he had been on parole, serving 9 years behind prison following his conviction in the armed robbery case in 2008. Remember when he wanted to get all of his memorabilia? He wanted his stuff
right.
and his daddy's records too. I don't know. But he was convicted of leading a group of men, including several who were armed, into a Vegas hotel room in 2007 to steal memorabilia from people he said had previously stolen from him. He was originally sentenced to 33 years behind bars for the crime. He served his time and then was released. And so in October 2017. So now he's free to go. And I don't know, will he stay in Nevada or will he go to Florida? I'm not sure if he even still has a home there.
I'm just hoping he stays out of trouble. You're a 74-year-old man. There's only so many times you can, go back to prison and still look intimidating to the other
Oh,
inmates.
he's beyond. Yeah, yeah, he's beyond intimidating right now, my friend. So we shall see. So that is what's happening in our world. And one more thing I thought I wanted to talk to you about, and I can't find it in my notes, but there was another story. It was regarding this Kentucky thing, and something that we will talk about, I think, in the newsletter in a little bit more detail. As far as the Kentucky weather and climate change, talked about that in a previous episode of It's Sybil. Excuse me, but I do want us to talk about the effects of climate change and how these storms in December, and just to get your thoughts on it, especially as a person who is an environmentalist of sorts.
Yeah.
Just a quick look at from your perspective regarding climate change and the storms and a deadly tornado in December.
Yeah. So scientists like to use this.
Mhm.
Uh, scientists like to use this analogy that climate change loads the dice when it comes to the severity of storms. That the reduction of the ozone layer leads to increased temperatures, and these visceral changes of really, really, really hot and cold, and really, really, really hot and 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 cold create these violent wind systems. And when it comes time for a storm, the there's a it increases it heavily skews the probability in a very
Hmm.
severe storm. And
Right.
so we're only going to see more severe storms as the symptoms of climate change get worse.
Yeah.
So
It's
and
not gonna it's not gonna go away. It's
it's
only
not.
going to, yeah. Cam, let's talk about what's really going on. And have you ever been and from our what's going on question of the day, have you ever been scammed?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good, good. I don't mean good, but I do want to hear because we are talking about the possibility of the number of scams that just seem to be growing exponentially. Whether it is a lot of people have been arrested in conjunction with trying to get the PPP loans
Yeah.
during the quarantine and the virus. People are now going to jail as a result of scamming the government out of this money.
Yeah.
People,
A former Bears
yeah,
player
yeah.
got right. Yeah.
He just got sentenced, right? Yeah, he's going
Hmm.
to do 3 years.
Yeah. I think it took like 1.5 million.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. That's exactly right. I understand that on a one of the reality shows, one of the housewife shows, one of the women is now in court over a scam that she is alleged and charged with implementing. And so, um,
Y'all, we can't do what they do, y'all. We can't
yeah,
do what they
okay.
do. I don't.
Okay. And you would think, somebody would have told the Bears player too. But
Right.
there are a number of other professional athletes trying to scam a healthcare system and get money and reimbursements for money for ailments and treatments that they never received. So asking you, definitely, Cam, want to hear about some of the scams,
Sure.
some of the things you may have been scammed by, and what would you like to warn us about? And that is for our viewers and our listeners today, the scams that are out there. Anything you want to warn us about, or anything you want to share how you got scammed and you want to prevent those of us still, looking at these things going, that's not a bad idea, and you want to save us,
Yeah.
and we are open for that. So give us your
Mm.
first one, that first comes to mind, Cameron. How were you scammed?
Yeah.
Or were you
So
the scammer?
no, I wish, because I would have all my money back. But
Yeah.
um, so in the pandemic, I started daytime investing, and I got really
Hmm.
good at it really quickly, and I had made like $15,000.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like this was calculated because a week after I quit my job and cashed out, my plan was to sit on that and work on my MFA application.
Hmm.
So a friend of mine on Facebook hit me with a GoFundMe link, saying that they had fell on hard times and they needed some financial relief. Okay, whatever. So I clicked the GoFundMe link, and I type in my email address, and all of a sudden I get a two-factor authentication notice from my phone that
Oh
someone
my
has gotten into my email. From there, my Google account keeps all of my passwords. So from there, it was only a matter of time before my bank account, um, and my stocks account, my Bitcoin, all of it got drained.
Oh
So
my God.
there was, and then like my credit cards got ran up. It was a lot of stuff. I felt absolutely awful.
Oh my
So
God, devastated.
yeah. So the one thing that I did do was that I had to figure out where this person was. So I sent them a link saying, "Hey, uh, if you if you're going to use my bank info, just click the like." I just sent them like a red herring, and they clicked the link, and this IP address tracked them to where to where their location was. Turns out that this person was scamming me from Lagos, Nigeria.
Oh, those
So
darn Nigerians, huh? Hey,
so
Chica.
yeah, so I did a bit of diving, and there are like camps of Nigerian scammers who uh, who just coordinate and attack uh, like American Facebook pages, and they
Mm-hmm.
did the same thing. I don't know if it was Nigerian specifically, but they did the same thing to my aunt, where my aunt has a cognitive disability, but
Mm-hmm.
she's a big fan of Janet Jackson. So someone made a fake Janet
Ah.
Jackson a account and started talking to her, and because my aunt can't tell the difference, they got her
Ugh.
to buy them gift cards and send
Mm-hmm.
them to her and just drained her of all of her cash. Uh,
Wow.
so, anyone who's out there, please do not click on any suspicious like links. Someone saying don't store your passwords
Your Google.
on Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You
yeah,
learned that the hard way, huh?
yeah. So it was a
Wow.
tough lesson to be learned. I lost
W-
a lot of money.
What an expensive lesson.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to clear all this up? And I'm not saying, go to Nigeria and throttle the person that did this to you, but how long did it take you to get your financials in order again?
Well, first I had to, muscle with the depression of losing all my money
Ugh,
and starting back
yeah,
from square zero.
yeah.
Uh, After that, I had to, file a police report. There were some credits that I could get reversed, but the
Mhm.
debits I could not. So I was just flat out of cash. It took me about a month, really. Uh, and you know what? If there's some kid in Nigeria who's off doing worse than me, and you need 20K, all right.
Wow, you're a better person than I am. I would find somebody Southwest Airlines and get the heck over there and
That's how I had to settle with it in my spirit.
yeah, yeah, you did. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. So Cameron, this was this year?
This was this year. Yeah.
So how quickly are you ready to get through 2021?
Oh man, I'm 2021 was the worst year of my life.
Mm, mm.
I am ready in
I'm so
2022.
sorry.
I know that if I can make that much on the stock market once, I can do it again. And
Mhm.
just God has a way of replenishing all that has been lost.
Yeah.
And also, I felt like uh, I needed to just mentally detach myself from this aspect of just acquiring wealth.
Mhm.
So, thanks everybody in the comments for apologizing. Um, Thank you. Appreciate it.
um that's nice. But so the most important thing that you want to share with people is to think before you click.
Yes. Do not click on any suspicious links. If someone who you don't talk to just contacts you out of nowhere, do not even bother. Also, set up two-factor authentication, which means
But
that
they
if
did that. But they had that for you, right?
yeah, they did. Uh, and it's still a deterrent to the
Yeah.
scammer.
Yeah.
So it's better to have it than not.
Right. Oh my gosh. Um, and what about Brian Scott? Hey, Brian. uh, he said the GOP was scammed when 45 told him he was going to be the best president ever. You're right, Brian. You're
Scam of the
absolutely
century.
right that they still don't realize it
Right.
that they've been scammed. Look at all those idiots that were there in January. Mrs. Davidson on
Hmm.
Facebook said, I received a call saying my lights would be turned off. I called the power company. They said it's a scam and that sadly elderly people are
Yes.
falling for it.
Yeah.
The other scam is them saying that your power is going to be turned off and they're at your door.
Hmm.
And that is dangerous because they have what looks to be official uniforms or
Yeah.
something like that. I mean, they really follow through on the scam itself, but they are showing the people what they think to be credentials, and they get into the people's houses.
Very skilled Photoshoppers out there. Very,
Hmm.
very skilled. There are people on Facebook saying that they're giving out COVID relief money. All they need is your Cash
Hmm.
App. Don't do
Hmm.
it.
Hmm. And God bless her. Coy was celebrating her birthday, and uh, had told people, she accepts cash apps, and I was like, I'm not going to be a part of you putting your cash app out here. That's
Yeah.
just I just didn't feel comfortable with that. I don't want to deny her from getting birthday gifts and money. But I can't go along with that because this is just, I mean, that's why people don't even like Cash App, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the scam economy is definitely real. What I did learn from this is that, um, you can reverse credits, no problem. If you're good with your credit card companies, they'll do it. But if someone scams you into making legitimate purchases,
Hmm.
it's uh, it's
If it
almost
seems too good to be
impossible.
true,
Yeah.
then it probably is. Yeah. Um, so was that the first and only time you've been, I mean, that's a lot, but is that the first time that you've been scammed?
Yes. Actually, yeah. That was the first time that I've been scammed ever in my life. Devastating
Wow.
blow. But
Yeah. That's a very expensive lesson to learn, my
oh
friend.
yeah.
And it really is. Um, Tyrone is on Facebook and he said Medicare scammers tried to get him.
Mhm.
Tyrone, you give us great little nuggets there, but I'm gonna need a little bit more information
Can you elaborate,
how
please?
the Medicare scammers got you. Nikeo Tim on YouTube says the local news have been telling folks about all the scams going on, especially to the elderly.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. And you say that with your aunt, she has some cognitive
Mhm.
disorder. So that was, and what happened in her situation? You said with the gift cards.
Yeah. This person told her to like buy gift cards, uh, and then take a picture of the gift card numbers and then send them to the scammer. So we tried to like recoup her losses, but because she made legitimate purchases, there was no way to legally say that she's been scammed.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to. So it kind of broke her heart because she really thought that she was
Mm-hmm.
talking to Janet Jackson. But
Yeah, I've heard
uh,
of people and the same thing with other people saying that however they find, I guess through Facebook, and you're a big fan of this person and that person. I've heard that a lot of the elderly, they get these messages from people saying that they are Janet Jackson or LL Cool J or somebody, and that they need their help right away. I know you don't believe this, but I'm in dire trouble,
right,
and
yeah.
and yeah. Wow. DW on YouTube says it's a new scam going around now. They are sending people text messages, say they are due a refund from the DMV. I get calls about it all day long.
Ugh, man.
So the Department of Motor Vehicles, they're using them, saying you get a refund from them,
Yeah. I mean,
or is that the the District Maryland and District of Columbia, Maryland and Virginia area?
I like the DMV to refund me all the time I spend waiting in line. That
Oh
that
well,
would that would be
that's
nice.
time you'll never get back to. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's a scam right
Um,
there.
well, I appreciate people. Teresa Bishop on YouTube says if someone calls or emails you and tells you that they have a court settlement, call the court, especially if you don't have a case. Do not pay any money. I get calls about scams like this at work. Teresa Bishop says this on YouTube. They're just
I
and
did get a
and
piece of a court settlement from the Salvation Army though.
you were part of a court settlement from the Salvation Army.
Yeah, I had no. There's this like community center off 119th, and before they can let you in because there are kids there, they
Uh-huh.
fingerprint you. And apparently, the Salvation Army was like selling people's biometric data against their
Shut
will.
up.
Yeah, so the court caught up with them and they said, "Hey, everybody from this year to this year who enrolled in this community center gets like $400." And I was like, and then a check came in the mail, and I was like, "Okay." And so I,
Wow. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
I've heard about people being sent these checks and you go to the bank and people are arrested
ooh,
because they receive checks from someone or some organization and saying you get this money, this 1,500, $15,000 or whatever it is, and the banks have called the police and they have ended up being arrested
wow.
right there on the spot.
Turn potential spam blocker. Oh, sorry, Manuel Murphy from Facebook says I turned on a potential spam blocker and I haven't seen any potential spam calls since.
Oh,
Thanks,
thanks,
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. Said that on Facebook. Well, thanks, Manuel. I appreciate that. So spam blockers. I do have the spam blocker on my phone, but I still get, I still see the calls coming through at
Yeah,
some
some
point
do
or
slip through
another.
the cracks.
Yeah, and text too. Um,
Yes.
n- there's somebody whose name is Nathan, and for whatever reason, they keep calling me Nathan and telling me all these great things that are available. I can melt fat overnight. They want to, buy my house. They want, whatever. I mean, it's all this crazy stuff. But Nathan, you gave them my number, and so they're still there. Sybil and Cam says Reggie Barnes on Facebook. I've been getting mail telling me to sign up, and you can earn $5,000 to $10,000. I called the number to be removed. It's asking me for it's asking me for my social security number. Oh, Reggie, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's absolutely nuts.
It seems too
Absolutely
good to be
nuts.
true. It probably is.
Right, right, exactly right. All right, my friend, let's go to the What You Need to Know newsletter and talk about what you have contributed to the newsletter in the current issue. For the folks who don't know, the What You Need to Know newsletter is our newsletter that we put together every Monday through Friday, and it can be in your email box first thing in the morning, Monday through Friday. And all you have to do, and this is not a scam. I promise you'll get
It's not.
you will get a real newsletter in your email box. All we want is your email address and your name. That's it. So go to sybilwilkes.com and sign up, and no money will be exchanged unless you just want to, give us a little Christmas something. No,
Yeah,
I'm
you
kidding.
know. Yeah.
I'm kidding. Cam has a story, and Cam, so my question for you is in the What You Need to Know newsletter, how do we feel about Jussie Smollett?
And Sybil, I wrote the story because I was also in a flux. I was also in a state of conflict. Uh, After the Jussie Smollett guilty verdict, it's like the media was asking all these black public personas to weigh in on it, and then if they gave an ambiguous answer, they were getting attacked and asked to denounce Jussie Smollett and oust him as a pariah from the movement for Black Lives. People are saying that the Jussie Smollett verdict invalidates the struggle of Black queer folks,
Mm-hmm.
and surprisingly, well, unsurprisingly, the Black Lives Matter wrote a statement in full, absolute support of Jussie Smollett, no matter what, because they're against all carceral systems, police and prisons. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had to think with myself, is there any way for us to both still be revolutionaries and still hold Jussie Smollett accountable? Can we
Mm-hmm.
still love him and care about his mental health, uh, and still, you know, uh, kind of tell him, hey, station of hate crime is really wrong. And so I'm curious. Folks are out there who are also feeling a little weird about the verdict. Um, are you okay with Jussie Smollett's fate?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to revoke his black card?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, how do you feel, Sybil?
I am I'm still on the fence on that too. I am offended that this hoax just took on a life of its own in for his personal betterment, professionally, I should say, not personal, but professional, to give him more money to increase his screen time on camera in hopes of that. Um, and I can't say that I'm surprised that it was a hoax because ultimately, when we did report the story on the Joyner show, you're like, oh, we gotta support Jesse, and then the more it turned, it was like, but he has to be held accountable. He
Yeah,
has to be held accountable for this. I'm sorry that he let it go so far that, he had to he felt as though he had to stand up to these charges and bring charges against the city, and the city countercharging him, and now it comes out that it's a hoax. What I found very interesting in all of this is my friend Don on CNN. He really tried to help Jesse.
yeah. Don
You
Lemon was
know,
really stepping up to bat for him.
he really was. He was one of those who, and God bless Don Lemon, he is all about his people. And of course, Jussie as a gay man, Don is a gay man, want to support and want to do something in the fight, in the struggle against the reprehensible attacks on gays. And so he really tried to help him, and then just to have him holding the bag, and people saying, well, what about your friend Jussie now? And
Hmm.
he's like, dude, you lied. I can't. I just can't.
Yeah.
One of the interesting stories that I saw, and you probably saw this too, Cam, is the only black juror on the only black person on the jury, the Smollett trial, found the case to be sad and still wonders about his motive, about Jussie's motive. His name is Andre Hope, and he said he took no pleasure in finding the Empire actor guilty of lying to police and staging a hoax, racist, homophobic attack on himself. He said the entire case was sad, said while the evidence against the actor was overwhelming, he's still left with one unanswered question. He said, I still have not figured out a motive for why he did it, why this had to even happen. He was a star.
Right. Yeah. He was, I mean, Empire catapulted his career as a songwriter and as an actor
Mm-hmm.
to um, to new heights, and he was set up for some success. And it just leaves me concerned for him. Like I don't want to, as black people, we don't want to feed one another to the carceral system.
Right.
But at the same time, though, he made a mockery of the struggle of so many of those less fortunate than him.
Yeah. And I am no fan. I have relatives I have who were in the police department, Chicago Police Department. I have friends who are still there, but I'm no fan of the Chicago Police Department. But I don't think that trying to get one over on them was the answer.
Right.
And that's the first thing. And the second thing, the people whose careers were affected by this because of calling to an end the Empire season and the show as a result of this.
Yeah.
The pandemic and all of that stuff notwithstanding, but he really did a number on a lot of people's careers.
Yeah. I used to work in the creative department on Empire season 3,
Mm-hmm.
and there was this rule like don't speak to any of the actors unless spoken to. But Jussie always said hi to everyone. Uh,
Mm,
he was just like a really nice guy, uh,
yeah.
and Vivica always said hi to everyone too. And
Yeah,
you
and
know,
she probably liked you too. She
she
probably said it.
she was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh, hello," and I'm like, Vivica,
Hello.
please, where's Rick?
Wow.
I did not want to get into. People have been that set was scandalous, but that is another topic for another time. Um, but yeah, he was a really nice person, and I just hope and pray that there is no jail time.
Mhm.
That they just get him with some fines, and he learns his lesson, because this is
That's the
painful to
thing.
watch,
Yeah. Yeah.
because he's
To
obviously
watch
not
his
well.
and he's and so that's the other part, because you have to look at the psychological why, and that was the other thing people kept saying, with the noose around his neck is like, why would you keep that? I mean, there's just so many questions. It's the way that he
Yeah,
he worked all this through in his head and how it all turned out, and it's just a very sad. But you're having worked in the same building where he was, and all of that. That's got to take it up another level in terms of the way you're looking at this case.
yeah, right, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So my heart goes out to him and his family. His sister's doing really well
Mhm.
uh, with her career, but his career is shot
And
downfall.
and so many of the smallest, they're all talented in their own ways, a chef and other creative arts and things like that. So good luck to them, and good on them for standing up and supporting their brother. But I just gotta try to figure out what that conversation is, between the rest of them when he's not there. Like, what was this
Oh,
thinking?
my
You know?
mom would. Oh, I could. Oh, my mom would not let me hear the end of it.
Yeah. And for good reason. Well, you know
Yeah.
what he did 10 years ago. Well, remember back in the 2000s when he it's like, oh boy, I'll never live this down. No, you won't.
No, yeah,
No,
not at all.
no. Let's talk about the California governor. I'm a big Gavin Newsom fan. I don't know about anybody else. I like the governor of California. I'm glad that he beat the recall effort. Just in his first term, they were trying to get him out of the job, but he is turning about fair play. And so he
Hmm.
has taken a page from the Texas state law book and flipped it around to work against the gun industry. And so he has proposed a bill in which people, the bounty hunter part of the
Right.
abortion law in Texas, is that you can turn people in and you can get money for turning people in who assist someone in getting an abortion. That includes even an Uber or a Lyft driver who takes them to a place to get an abortion outside of the state of Texas, or whoever is doing the abortion itself. So the governor now has flipped it and said that people can of California residents can sue those who are involved in the manufacture, the creation, the manufacture, and the selling of assault weapons, especially,
Yeah.
and ghost guns. Ghost
Yeah.
guns is a really big thing on the streets these days. And so that's what they're going to start to work on now. And of course, the conservatives are saying, "Oh, we just knew it was a matter of time before some blue state would come up and do this." Well, he's done
Right.
it,
Yeah.
and I heard the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, say that
Hmm.
good on him, and yeah, we're going to take that and try to do the same thing here in the state of New York.
Uh,
So it'll be interesting. Just as other states are moving to do what Texas has done in regards to abortion services, they're flipping it in regards to the gun rights laws and stopping the not so much people owning them, but those who are producing them and those guns, especially the assault rifles and the ghost guns that are using to kill our people.
yeah. It's glad to see that Gavin Newsom was worth the money because so much money was spent into him
Yeah.
beating the recall. It's also nice to see local elected officials taking action on guns. I just
Hmm.
hope that it doesn't, like everything else, it just backlashes bad on Biden's part. If people see local officials taking action against guns, people are just going to look to Biden and say, "Oh, he's not doing anything." Um, that's really not the issue. It's the fact that he kind of can't. But
Right.
that is really good to see. Can you elaborate on what ghost guns are for people in the comments?
Yeah, these are ghost guns are those guns that people manufacture themselves that don't have identification numbers on them, so you can't track them down. You cannot, and these are ghost guns are produced in garages, in
Wow.
basements, and things
Yeah.
like that. And so and they're ghosts because they are able to maneuver their way into society without
Mm.
any tracking system.
And they're like not
And
registered. They don't have serial numbers or anything.
they have no serial numbers there. There's no registration, and oftentimes they can be and they're not put together well, and so as opposed to the companies like you name a gun company, I don't know, Remington, or let's just say something like that, as opposed to a real manufacturer putting them together. People are doing this for their own sake,
Hmm.
and not having to be responsible and held responsible in the murders and the robberies and things like that,
Okay.
and they are cropping up everywhere.
Wow. Yeah. That's really
So
good to see. Uh, I don't know how safe I would feel about bounty hunting gun manufacturers, uh,
yeah,
but that cash incentive is looking a little
yeah,
nice.
$10,000 for that.
Yeah, I could recoup my losses.
And yeah, but you don't want them coming looking for you.
Yeah, in Chicago, that's like snitching on my next door neighbor or something.
Right, right, right. And this doesn't apply to us, but I do want people to take a look at our Tuesday newsletters in which we have great tax information from Katrina Kraft. She is a wonderful CPA and talks about 4 tax credits for sole proprietors with employees, which I don't think applies to either of us, Cam, but I would encourage people to take a look at that. She has some great
Mm,
information every
those tax
Tuesday in
credits
the
are
what
looking.
to
Those child tax credits are looking a little nice.
don't do any scamming things, or don't bring on baby mamas for the sake of getting those credits, because we don't even know that it's going to go into next year.
Yeah, and I got a very scary email from the Department of Education saying, Cameron, in 2 months, you must repay your
Uh-huh.
loans. I'm like,
Yeah.
Joe Biden, you have 2 months. Do
You
something.
sound like your sister. Yeah.
Please do
Uh,
something.
and that is something that we also talk in the newsletter in a week or two about that, about those loans and what to do, or not for you guys, but for definitely for students on the rise.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
Those who are going to college and starting. All right, let's look at entertainment, Cam, and
What's going on?
we have J.R. Smith. Are you familiar with J.R. Smith, the former NBA star?
Yeah.
Okay, so he retired from the business. Championship, NBA championship, I believe with was it Cleveland? I think it was with Cleveland when he played with LeBron. And so JR is out of the basketball business, but he wanted to go back to school in order to start his golf career. And
Oh,
so he went to an HBCU, and now the word is he's gotten his first semester grades, and he pulled a 4.0.
hey, all right, go ahead, JR.
Okay. So
Yeah.
he is a star on the court. He's a star on the course, golf course, and
Oh,
in the classroom. He skipped college, went into the NBA in 2004, decided to revisit the opportunity to get an education and enroll at North Carolina A&T.
oh,
So
go
far,
Gamecocks.
and he has gone on social media. He said he's crushing it. He said, I can't even describe the feeling. I ain't even gonna lie to you. A lot of hard work went into that ish. And he did not say ish. He's 36 years old, originally enrolled at North Carolina A&T with the intent of making it on the golf team, but he says he feels a great deal of accomplishment and achievement for his work in the classroom and that 4.0. And so he said, when you hear about your disabilities and all the stuff that plays a part in why you can't think the way you want to and calculate and everything, he said he's really feeling good about whatever inequities he felt, whatever
Mm,
kind of doubts he had about his life. He said this is now convincing him that he made the right decision. And a 4.0 is nothing to sneeze at. I don't
yeah,
care where you're going. So
yeah.
um, that was really cool. So we congratulate you, J.R. Smith. And, I remember Kevin Garnett. Do you remember Kevin
Oh,
Garnett?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So when he was in high school, and he was one of the first to go from high school into the NBA, and I remember talking to him on the Joyner Show, and Tom was
Oh,
really trying to push him to go to college,
huh,
and so he's like, "No, man, I've had enough of school, and I just want to get out there and play my game."
mm,
And he was absolutely right. I mean, and he said, and he told Tom, he said, some people are not meant to go to college. He
yeah,
said, and that's not to be mean that sometime in the future I won't go. But even at the age of the tender young age of 17, he knew that this wasn't for him and that he had the skills and he wanted to go and play in the NBA. And he did. I mean, he had one of the longest careers
yeah,
in the NBA, and now he's making movies. He's a movie star and all this other
right.
kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, he was in
if you had to do it over
Uncut
again,
Gems.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
good movie.
If you had to do it over again, would you skip? Would you go and maybe start day trading at the age of 18 instead of going to college?
Mm, mm, mm,
And
you know,
without fear of being scammed.
yeah, if the I struggle because there is something so unique about the college experience that
Hmm.
cannot be imitated, duplicated, or replicated in
Yeah,
any other facet of
36-year-old
life.
guy is not going to have the same experience,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Um,
college is just like it's a once in a lifetime thing.
mhm.
And I learned so much about myself there that I probably wouldn't learn, day trading behind my computer.
Yeah. And there's something about, I mean, it may not be the best experience,
Mm,
because I think about that, but I might like to go back and take some audit some classes, but I can't imagine
yeah.
skipping the whole experience, because the good and the bad that came out of that, um, you can't revisit. You can't go back.
Yeah, and like for my generation who grew up on who the internet raised, there we always think that there's a fast track to fame, fortune, and wealth. So I do like seeing people go back to college because they're passionate
Hmm.
about it. And KG's right. College is not for everyone. You know, there's an absence of skilled laborers out there. So
Yeah,
if you want to just like learn a trade and make 5 figures doing that, and those like metal workers, sheet metal workers, they get paid really well. You
yeah,
know, go for it. It's out
yeah.
there.
And you're right, and I believe that too. I push education, but for some people, education inside the classroom isn't always the answer for them, and
Right.
and their education is given to them elsewhere. They get that elsewhere. So
I know Michael Jordan is itching to whoop J.R. Smith in
I know, right?
golf. He is itching.
That's gonna be great. As we wrap this up, I do want to share with you Yogi's Jewel. You got anything coming up this week? You ready for the holidays and all that kind of stuff?
We've got our family holiday party. My aunt is a bowler. We take bowling pretty seriously in our family, so
It's really
uh,
cute.
we've got our bowling party. Um, I have a friend that writes for SmackDown, and
Mhm.
so I'm gonna go watch WWE SmackDown on Friday.
Oh, nice,
Uh,
nice.
and then I've got a date on Thursday. So
Okay, well, we want to hear
action
all
packed,
about that.
action
Good
packed
for
week.
you.
Whew.
Good for you. And maybe sometime I can't even say that. I don't even know where the members of my former bowling team are, but we used to call ourselves the Couch Potatoes, and we were pretty good, if I do
Such a
say
good
so
name for a
myself.
bowling
It
team.
was, it really was, wasn't it? You're a bunch of
Yeah.
wacky radio people in Fort Myers, Florida. All right, so here is Yogi's Jewel for the day, young Cam. Don't wait for a specific occasion to feel peace.
Mm,
Claim your peace in all situations. And
yeah.
that is PEACE, Cameron, just so you'll know. Claim
Okay.
your peace in all situations.
Thanks, Yogi.
And everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Great story about the scams and everything. I appreciate your sharing with us.
Oh, of
And
course.
we will see you all soon. Thanks so much. Have a great night. Aloha.
Good night, everybody. See y'all later.
Mele kalikimaka.